Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. Today is Monday, September 10th, and this episode is brought to you by my fantastic sponsor, Wyco Vintage. You ever dreamed of having that concert t-shirt that you had years ago? Or maybe you didn't get a concert t-shirt because you wanted to buy some beers. Instead, you're like, I don't need a shirt. Give me 2 beers. Or maybe you got one of those parking lot shirts and it fell apart. Whatever it is, your rock and roll dreams are going to come true. Relive them with the amazing Wyco Vintage. They have the original concert t-shirts. I'm not talking about knockoffs or those things you see at Target or Mervyn's or Kmart. Mervyn's. But you know what I mean. You go to Wyco Vintage, you look it up. Hey, I always wanted a Joy Division shirt from their tour. Oh, what about Cheap Trick on the Dream Police tour? They've got it all, man. And this stuff is mind-boggling, the collection. Over 3,000 vintage rock and roll concert t-shirts and sports and hip-hop shirts. Hit them up, WycoVintage.com, Kansas City's finest. Go to the website. Use my code DELRAISER, DELRAISER, for a discount. Also, maybe you have some stuff laying around the house that you don't wear anymore. Maybe it doesn't fit you, or maybe somebody left at you. An old roommate left you a bunch of junk. You think's junk, but maybe Wyco wants it. You got any old concert memorabilia, vintage T-shirts, any of that stuff? Hit up Wyco Vintage. They also buy your collections. You got a bunch of T-shirts, and you just want to sell them all. Hit them up. Tell them I sent you. Dean Del Rey sent me to Wyco Vintage. Use the code DELRAISER. All right, guys, let's get into it. I'm out here in Los Angeles, in the sunny Los Angeles. Out here doing shows at the Comedy Store, interviewing all kinds of great guests for upcoming episodes of Let There Be Talk, trying to get this thing to the next level for all you guys. Which, by the way, I am now going to be doing bonus episodes on Patreon. So if you are a Patreon donator and you donate $5 or more a month, you will get Thursday episodes, which is going to be pretty cool. I'm just going to be talking about stuff that I love, like records, movies, what I'm up to in life, all kinds of just random stuff. I think you guys will dig it. And those will be on Thursdays on patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. So if you want to sign up for that, hit it up. It's really easy. And speaking of people that signed up, Tommy94 is there. Thank you, buddy. Ryan Bennett is a Patreoner. Julian Meaden. How are you, Julian Meaden? Thank you. And let's see, Casey Shearer. How are you, Casey Shearer? And also another shout out to the pug dog, Roxy Chamberlain. One more shout out for that pug dog, Travis Chamberlain's pug dog. Long live Roxy Chamberlain, the pug dog. Let's get into the guest today. Man, I think in 2001, I was still playing music, of course, trying to write some kind of roots rock mecca record. You know, all kinds of inspirations out there like Wilco and Counting Crows and Ryan Adams and Wallflowers. All this stuff was going on. And I was well engulfed in the Americana, roots rock, singer-songwriter stuff. And along comes a man named Pete Yorn, drops a record called Music for the Morning After in 2001. It immediately sets fire. People are all over it. Life on the Chain, of course, a great song. Strange Condition. Everybody was all over it. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't. It didn't hit me as hard as other people. I thought the songs were incredible. But in 2003, I was out on tour with the Wallflowers, and we were crossing around America, and we kept crossing paths with Pete Yorn, and he was out on a tour for the brand new record, Day I Forgot. And that record hit me in the face. I listened to it for probably a year straight. I still listen to it to this day. I think it's one of the great, great singer-songwriter rock and roll records. I love it. Come Back Home, Crystal Village, Turn of the Century was one of my favorite songs. I just think that thing is a masterpiece of a song. And I immediately became a big fan of this guy, and I've been following him ever since. And he definitely goes into that category that I always talk about, where people love a band for one record and then they don't follow through. In this ADD world, it happened with the Black Crowes, happened with the Wallflowers, happened with Counting Crows, happened with a lot of bands. People go, whatever happened to them? I'm like, what do you mean whatever happened? They put out like 9 great records. You don't have them? No, man, I just kind of lost touch. I don't know, like I was just had kids and I got bills and then it just didn't matter anymore, man. But I get it. Some people are full-time music junkies and others are part-timers, and records get them through a period in their life and then they move on, which is cool. I get it. Music serves a purpose, all different purposes, actually, to different people. To me, once I fall in love with an act, I absolutely follow them to the end. And even I even buy their shitty records and wonder what the hell were they thinking. And it seems the shitty records later become my favorite records. So I enjoy the whole saga of loving a artist all the way through. Which, by the way, I saw Marcus King over the last couple days, and holy shit, I can't wait to see what this guy does for the next 10 years. That being said, Pete Yorn and I sat down at the Comedy Store. I had met him years ago when I was on tour, and it was briefly, so it was great to dig in and talk to this man, and I've always loved his records. He has a new EP out with Scarlett Johansson, believe it or not. It's his second time working with her, and we get into how that happened, and we talk about his discovery. Discovery? Hey man, I love your discovery. But he's got amazing records, including his last record, which I really like, came out in 2016 called Arranging Time. He did a record with Frank Black producing. He also did a record called Back and Forth that has one of my favorite songs that he's done in years, which was called Paradise Cove, and we find out what the inspiration was for that, which was pretty fun to hear. I love Pete Yorn, and it was great to have him on, and I'm looking forward to see him out on his acoustic tour. I love acoustic tours, especially when it's a man like Pete who has a lot of great songs. So go out and see him on his acoustic tour. And support him. And if you've never heard Pete Yorn, dive in now. You're going to be in luck. You've got a lot of music to catch up on. What else is happening? Going to get into a couple show dates here. September 14th and 15th, I'm going to be in Richmond, Virginia with Bill Burr. September 16th, Charleston, South Carolina with Burr. September 28th, the LA Forum with Bill Burr. Unbelievable shows coming up. I just can't believe it. It's going to be great. What else is happening? I guess that's about it. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes here. I took some notes. I got professional on your ass. I took some notes, and I think I'm going to record the bonus episode after this intro and throw that up for Thursday on Patreon and talk a little bit about Metallica releasing the Injustice for All finally on vinyl, a super bonus collection, and talk a little bit about Burt Reynolds and Lenny Kravitz's new record and St. Paul and the Broken Bones' new record. So get that on Thursday. I love all you guys. Keep the candles lit. You've been fantastic. I love all your support and your emails. Go out and see live comedy. Come out and see me. Here we go. Here he is, Mr. Pete Yorn. Here we go. Another episode of Let There Be Talk live at the Comedy Store here in the Cocaine Green Room with Pete Yorn. How are you, buddy?
I'm excellent, thank you.
You walked through the Comedy Store and you said you hadn't been here in years.
I haven't been here in a long time. I remember seeing Dom Herrera.
Dom Herrera. He's still doing comedy. Funny as fuck still to this day. He was just on, I think he was on Roast Battle recently. Judging the Roast Battle on Comedy Central. One of my dear friends, an old friend, when I first started comedy, took me out on the road. We did San Francisco together, and it was one of those guys where you go out on the road and you go, oh, this guy has seen it all. You learn so much in a weekend. You're like, holy shit. So you came and saw Dom Herrera, like what year?
This must have been probably 2002. I think it was 2002. I was here with, I remember this, I was with some Playboy bunnies, I remember.
Yeah.
That was a rare thing for me. I wasn't around Playboy bunnies too much, but they took me here and we saw Dom Herrera, and then my friend realized he had a lactose intolerance developing, and he ran to the bathroom. I remember he fucking blew up the bathroom really bad. That's what I remember about that night. But I remember especially at Dom Herrera, I'd seen him around on maybe a couple movies and over the years, and he was hilarious. He was really, really amazing. I remember that. So walking through, I had forgotten about it when I walked through just now to meet you. I was like, I've been here before. So it's been a while. This whole part of town, when I first moved out here, I lived up Doheny, north of Sunset, and it just, I'm driving here. I've been living in Santa Monica for a while, West Side, and when I don't come here that often anymore. When I do, it just takes me back to my early days out here when I was first getting my start, and I see by the Roxy, the Whiskey, the Viper Room, and all that stuff. It just takes me back to the mid '90s. And, it's a powerful memory. And I had to take a leak, and Starbucks didn't have one, and so I hit Carney's, and I remember been to Carney's one time, probably 1995, 94, and I got a hot dog. And I bit into it, and there was a bone in it. And I was I never went back to Carney's. And I always remember that. And I found myself in there just now. They were kind enough to let me use the restroom before it opened. So, yeah. And it seems like a nice, clean place now. So it's good. You
know what's weird is that Saddle Ranch next door, I was just coming to meet you here, and they have a sign up celebrating their 19-year anniversary next Wednesday. And I was like, when you look at this street and it's changed so much, everything's gone, to see Carney's, to see an actual just train car, or Saddle Ranch, just this wooden themed restaurant still hanging in there with tons of business, by the way. They're not but as I see that stuff, I'm like, God, if this goes away because of fucking stupid hotels and stuff, we're going to be it's just going to be soulless, House of Blues is gone, and then, everything's hotels and condos now.
Tower Records gone. It's interesting. But yeah, it was nice to see Carney's there. In fact, I thought when I was just there, I was like, this would be a nice place to bring my daughter. My little girl, I could see us, because they got the wood patio and the picnic tables, and it felt cool.
I picture just now as you're talking about it as a Pete Yorn video, late at night. You're just in there eating, you could actually do a weird, cool, stylistic black and white video where you're just in Carney's. No one knows where it is. It could be Jersey, because Jersey has all those weird diners and all that. And you're in there, just it has that vibe to me.
Let's do it. I like it. Let's do it.
How are you, man? It's great to have you on. A huge fan for years. I really... it's funny because I think about that era of when I first get into Pete Yorn, which is, of course, everybody's into the first record. And I liked the first record. It was a huge fan of Singer Songwriter, and all that was kind of going on in the 90s up into 2000s, let's say Counting Crows, Wallflowers, all that stuff was kind of going on. And then your record comes out, and I enjoyed it. But really, the record that knocked me out was the second record, Day I Forgot. I remember I was on tour opening for the Wallflowers, and everywhere we were going in America, we were crossing paths. And one night we were in Chicago. We played the Vic. You were doing the Riviera, and we got, or you were playing. We got to town the night before, and you were playing. So we went, And I was blown away, and I fell in love with that record, man. And I play that record even to this day, which is amazing to me. But I want to get in there. I'm jumping forward, but it's crazy to think, like before that, I knew who you were, but I was here in LA, but I didn't really see Pete Yorn playing, so I dug into it. I guess you were doing Largo and stuff. What is the background on that?
The early days, I moved out here in '96, and you must know Rami.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a while. I saw him on Saturday night at Rami Jaffe, who plays with the Foo Fighters now, but he was the original member of the Wallflowers.
Yep, B3 player.
Sick B3 player, great guy. And I saw him for the first time in a while at my friend's 50th birthday on Saturday night before it got shut down by the cops. But he looks the same. He's looked the same for 20 years. Good to see him. But sorry, I just sidebarred that.
That all goes back into the mini bar triangle and all that.
Yeah, you know those guys too.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's awesome, man. So for me, I moved out here in '96, but I spent 2 summers out, 90, 94, 95, while I was still in school. I went to school in upstate New York in Syracuse.
You're a Jersey guy.
Grew up in Jersey. And when I moved here, I started playing around. A friend of mine, this kid, Adam Cohen, who is actually Leonard Cohen's son, was a friend of mine from school. And he was close with this guy Flanagan, who still runs Largo.
Yeah, I know Flanagan.
Yeah, of course. Right?
Flanny.
Yeah, Flanny, the best. And
fuck you up. Pete Yorn's the best, man. We're going to have him here tomorrow.
He gave him, I had made like a little home demo, of 6 songs. And Adam gave it to Flanagan. And he got back. He's like, yeah, let's have him in. And that started. I used to play at Largo all the time.
On Fairfax, the old one.
The old one, yeah. Next to Damiano's. I get pizza and play Largo, which would be great. And then... that's where I did my first gigs for a couple of years.
Were you playing solo acoustic back then?
Both. I was doing sometimes with a band, sometimes solo acoustic. My brother was in my band at that time. He was the drummer. Rick was the drummer.
Wow.
And it was fun. I remember, coming from Jersey, I hadn't been out too much in some of the clubs and bars and seeing, a lot of shows. And I remember at Largo, at that time it was like Amy Mann was there all the time. Elliott Smith was there all the time. This kid Jude, I remember, was playing there a lot. And John Bryan was doing his thing.
He would do that every weekend.
He was doing their early thing there. And I remember some of these acts, you'd walk in and they'd be playing by themselves, and you could hear a pin drop. It was just silence. And I'd be like, wow, holy shit. I'd be at the bar getting a Guinness and start talking to a friend and people are like, shh. And I'd be like, whoa. And I remember thinking wow. And then when I would play, all my Jersey friends who moved out would just be all rowdy at the bar talking. And I'm like, shut up, man, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't even care. I'm just teasing. But I remember one of the things, there were very highly crafted songs written, by really talented people in there. And I always kind of felt out of place. I felt like a little bit of an outsider. I remember, even though Flanagan always welcomed me with open arms, but I always felt like I was a little rough around the edges or something, and I was aspiring to really get my shit together and become stronger. So I think those early days at Largo, taught me a lot.
Pushes you,
It pushed me, and I was around these really talented people, and it pushed me to figure out how to create dynamic, especially in an acoustic set. I realized just kind of get quieter and quieter, and then you realize people actually kind of start to pay attention more, and it's something you got to earn. I think you can't just expect it to happen, but put in a lot of work there, and I'm very thankful to be able to play there. And then they moved to La Cienega years later.
Yep.
But it's a good place. That's where I definitely started. I played some early shows at the Viper Room. I played some early shows at Dragonfly.
Oh, Dragonfly, that was a great spot.
That one, I think my first ever band show with my brother and my buddy Waz from college. We played a 3-piece set there at Dragonfly, and had 8 songs that we had worked up, and it was fun. Those were fun times. It was probably 1995, I think 96. Yeah.
Wow. When you're growing up in Jersey, I mean, you can go either two ways. Either you're Bruce, or it's Bon Jovi and a lot of Stone Pony hair rock back then and all that. And I did read somewhere that Sloan was a band that really got you into stuff. But what were you listening to young? Because it's a gamble in Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Because in Jersey, it was either cover band, Springsteen or Jovi? You know, it's like you had to play covers on the East Coast.
Yeah, so the timing for me was I didn't really start playing out a lot until I moved out here, till after college. Because when I went to school, I wasn't even planning on being a musician. I was going to go to law school.
Well, like your brother?
Like my oldest brother.
Right.
I didn't know what the hell I want to do, so I'm like, I guess I like To Kill a Mockingbird. Maybe I could be a litigator or something. Be in the courtroom in a suit. Whatever. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do, but I was writing a lot of songs. But as a kid in Jersey, I have my two older brothers, so I'm pretty good. When they're in college and high school, and I'm 9 years younger. I'm still a little kid compared to them, and they turned me on to everything. It was like, when I was like 5, 6, it was Maiden and Priest. It was all
awesome.
Fucking crank, and that was my favorite thing. And we finally got cable TV and got MTV for the first time. I remember just as a really little kid, just sitting in front watching and just praying they would play a Judas Priest video. Like, it was all I wanted.
A man, Run to the Hills?
Maiden, of course. Yeah. At that time, it was Run of the Hills. Then it was Trooper and that record, and I was like fucking into that.
Yeah. And Priest screaming for vengeance.
Yes,
that whole stuff.
That whole time, and I remember when I first heard Breaking the Law, I didn't hear it.
Beavis and Butthead.
I first noticed it because my brothers had a band in our basement, and they were like, check out this song we learned. And I remember the drums. I was like, whoa, the way it goes, boom, right before the chorus.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And then they played it for me, and I was like, I was in. And then it all changed. Like, right when my middle brother went to college, so in 1985, it immediately, we always loved that stuff still, but then it shifted to it was starting to go that way, maybe senior year of high school for him, where it was like, The Clash, U2, The Jam, and all that stuff. But then when he got to college, like, they got into the Smiths and The Cure. And when he came back for fall break, would have been October, freshman year, he played me Big Mouth Strikes Again, and the Smiths and The Cure and all that in between days. I remember hearing that, and that changed everything. And that made me, when I was in the Maiden and Priest, I never thought about writing songs or like learning guitar.
Right.
And as soon as I heard the Cure and the Smiths specifically, and REM too, early REM, I was like, I kind of want to learn how to write songs like this, and that changed everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so your brothers are playing in a band before you were even playing. They actually had a band?
Yeah, my middle brother taught me how to play drums. So they had a band. Rick was the drummer, and he's 6 years older than me. And Kevin was like the singer, the front man. He didn't play any instruments. He just looked good and could sing. And they were in, just fun music. And they had, every other week, they had these fucking burnouts from Jersey in our basement, bringing in carrying Marshall stacks down the stairs.
You had some cool parents, huh?
I think about it now. My parents were very conservative, very straight. My dad was a dentist. My mom was a school teacher for a while, but very conservative. But thinking about it now, the noise we made, I don't have the patience for that. I'd be like, turn that shit off. They let us crank music loud down there.
Wow.
For years. And
Marshall especially, that shit is absurd loud in a house. They're loud in a club.
Yeah, and these kids were smoking. My dad was a dentist. He was so anti-smoking everything, and they'd be smoking down there, everything. And I was 6, 7 years old, just like, wow, this is fucking awesome, And definitely, without a doubt, being exposed to that and live music in my basement as a little kid, that made all the difference with me, I think. I think I had a natural ability, but I remember just looking at them, seeing it, and very quick being like, oh, I could do that. Yeah, I could fucking do that. Like little shit brother, trying to get on the drums, whatever. But then my middle brother, my brothers are always very cool, but my middle brother, I remember, sat me down one day. He said, all right, here's this beat. You can play this beat. And I just was able to play it. And
wow.
So drums were the first thing for me, and I was really
good thing you got out of that quick.
What's that?
Drums.
Well, the drums were a great foundation,
Yeah.
But then it was like, well, now I just want to try writing songs. I think I don't know if I thought that, but it just naturally went that way.
Were you going to concerts, you guys, at a young age out there in Jersey? What part of Jersey?
A town called Montville, not to be confused with Montvale, which is a little north. We're north, about 40 minutes west of the Lincoln Tunnel.
Oh, gotcha.
So it was the towns around us were Parsippany, Fairfield, Boonton. My cousin Larry still lives in Boonton, and I'm actually playing in Jersey at the Stone Pony you mentioned this month. So
great venue.
To go back there. Yeah, it's
great venue.
They have a good, nice renaissance right now, I feel like. But my first concert. Here's the first one I remember with my parents. Actually, now I'm really thinking. The first thing I remember really hitting me was a talent show at the high school.
Oh, yeah.
And there was this band called Sand in the Face, and they were like this punk band.
Sand in the Face.
Sand in the Face.
That's a good name.
Yeah, and I think it was honestly, I think one of the guys was like a real skinhead. That was like
wow,
like not a good guy. But they were like I was just to see the live music. I was like, holy shit. There was another band, a metal band called Roulette. Yeah, and I was like probably 7 years old, and
every town's got a Roulette.
Yeah, and they were fucking good. But then my parents took me to my first concert was Diana Ross in the Young Rascals at Bally's in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And I saw that. I was like, cool, whatever. But then the first concert I went to with like my friends wasn't until sophomore year of high school, and it was at the Brendan Byrne Arena at the Meadowlands, which I don't even know what the hell it's called. I mean, Izod, or I don't know what it's called now. But it was Poison with Warrant opening up.
Oh wow, huge show.
Yeah, so that was a big fun rock show.
Yeah.
And I think my friends tried to smoke like. They brought these like, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. They brought these like toilet paper little cylinders, the middle paper of it. Yep. And it was filled with pumpkin seeds. And then someone like put paper around it and they thought they were going to smoke it. I was like, what the fuck are you guys, what are you fucking doing?
That's some 80s shit there.
That was some weird shit. Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking, but I could still laugh about it. But yeah, I remember, it was a good show. Poison was a fun band. The drums were very simple. Ricky Rocket, right? He's a drummer.
Yeah.
Like the drums are always simple. And that was a fun band for me to always put my headphones on, amongst tons of other bands, but just to play to some of those.
Oh yeah,
songs.
like I Want Action. It's like boom, pop. I want action. It's just like boom, pop, satisfaction. Fucking pop tunes, though, man.
They were pop tunes. And they were fun to play. They were fun to play drums too.
Yeah, so. And then they were also fun to watch. That kind of stuff. When you're growing up, you're like, man, these guys are like fire and confetti and silly string. They're doing fucking somersaults. You're like, wow. It's like this is insane. They're wearing insane shit, but it gets you in there, you know what I mean? And Warrant, say what you will, I think that song I Saw Red is one of the great ballads of the 80s from, you got I Will Be There For You by Bon Jovi, which I think is the all-time best ballad, and Home Sweet Home, but all these bands, like I was talking to you off mic, they had ballads, and the ballad
Power ballad,
yeah. Man, and that was what got you into the next level.
My favorite power, one of them was the Ballad of Jane. Was that L.A. Guns?
That's a great one.
Or Faster Pussycat.
L.A. Guns.
It was L.A. Guns.
Yeah, and that's where Tracy Gunn cuts his hair, and you're going like, he cut his hair. It's like a big deal. Way before Metallica.
Yeah.
Oh shit, he cut his hair. That's a great song.
And Faster Pussycat had one too.
Oh, that one, I said, I had Tammy on. That's House of Pain.
House of Pain.
There is no House of Pain.
It's a good song. This feels perfect talking on the Sunset Strip. About this stuff. Yeah, that's funny.
I said that like if Taylor Swift or somebody covered House of Pain, it would be monstrous. Someone in Nashville, let's say. Like anyone in Nashville.
I'm going to break it out in the next couple weeks. I used to love that song. I just remember.
That's a monster tune.
Yeah. Monster
tune. It's funny because...
there's no one home in my house to pay.
Yeah. I love that one. It's like... there's something on there that really I related to, something about his dad or something, like the door slammed, you never came back, but goddamn, that tune's good, man. That's some of those guys, and those were all kind of wrote by accident. Nobody back then when I was playing music, you didn't know what the fuck you were doing. You're just putting G, C, and A together, and then you're like, this sounds good. I miss you, girl. And then, Sweet Child of Mine is the monster.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was waiting in line to get tickets at Disneyland on my daughter's birthday, and for some reason, Sweet Child of Mine came into my head, and my daughter has really blue eyes, and I always liked the song, but I wasn't, and I was like, she's got eyes on the bluest skies. Yeah, it's like, this is a very poetic, beautiful, it's a very beautiful song.
Oh, that song's great, man. That song's great. It's funny because what gets me really into Pete Yorn is what's the song? Saw my reflection covered in blood. That song, I must have listened to that song 1,000 times. I was like, God, this song is so great, man. you can write some ballads. I think that it's really your like super strong point is the dark ballads, you know?
It comes from the metal, the hair band power ballad Youth. That
yeah, but I'm saying it's hard to write a good up-tempo song that's not just a throwaway up-tempo song, you know? That's way harder, I think, than a ballad. Don't you think so? I mean, you got great ones like Come Back Home. That thing's just a puncher, you know? It's like, I love that stuff. But it is hard, you know? Because it's like, well, what are we writing about here? You know, I mean, Springsteen was a king at it, you know?
He's next level. He's unbelievable. Yeah, the thing is, whether it's, I think, ballad or up-tempo song, when they come, you know, and when they're when it's a struggle, and you know, it's just a struggle. So it could be easy either way and hard either way. Remember, so I have a song called, you were talking about Turn of the Century.
Yeah.
And that came really fast. I remember when that came, and it was written, actually, it was inspired. I'd met that director, Baz Luhrmann, and he's, I don't know where the heck I was, and I started talking to him, and he said, I'm making a movie about, you know, France, you know, in Paris at this certain time period, and he was describing it to me, and just the way he described it, like, I just heard that song. I heard a waltz, and I just, based on our conversation, not that I was writing it for him or nothing like that, but based on what he said, I think the movie ended up being Moulin Rouge.
Oh yeah,
but
wow.
Like just what he described to me just made me think musically. The lyrics came from a different place, I think, but that's why it's called Turn of the Century too, because I think it's around that time period. But yeah, I just heard this like pretty waltz in my head, and it's weird. Like I couldn't have planned that, you know. Just looking back, that's how it happened. But you know,
it's a great tune. Now, once you get to LA and you're playing Largo and stuff, is your brother at that time? Your brother is a big agent now,
manager.
Right? Manager, yeah. He's a huge Hollywood mogul, as we would say, right? I mean, like, but at the time, once you're playing in LA, he stops playing with you and stuff, and he goes off and starts doing his own thing, and you start playing. How fast does it happen for you? Because I know you're playing Largo, and you know back then that was when A&R guys were going out and watching bands and shit. Who was coming around? Were you getting some heat? Like, what was happening?
At first, not much was going on, and then a couple of A&R people came and saw us, or me, or I forget if it was the band or if I was solo, whatever, actually at the Roxy.
You remember who they were? What guys? Like Aaron Jacobus or somebody like that?
One guy's name was really nice guy. He had signed my buddy Doc's band, and I think his name might have been Michael Rosenblatt.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he was at MCA at the time.
I actually remember that name. You know, you remember these A&R guys' names because they were actually like, you know, there's only like 10 in the world. You know, it seemed like you had like Kevin Williamson, you had Aaron Jacobus, you had, of course, Rick Rubin, you had, what was the guy, John Kalogner.
Yeah, Kalogner,
you had the dude that signed G&R, and he was famous for a long time, I forget his name, the Geffen guy, but you had these guys. And they were the dudes, you know. They were actually the dudes. They'd come around, you go, that guy could change your life.
Yeah, and back then, you got to remember, there was no internet, really. It wasn't like you're not putting out songs yourself where people could hear them. I remember it was like just right before I got signed, I remember Napster, I think, came around.
Right.
And I remember thinking, wow, this is cool. And I uploaded a few songs. I think an early version of Strange Conditioning. I would sit in front of the computer for like 3 hours at a time, just like sending the song, private messaging, like people who liked at the time, if they liked Jeff Buckley or they liked the Smiths or they liked, something that I thought maybe would resonate. I was like, oh, if you like that, check out this Pete Yorn song, Strange Condition, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would just try and work it that way,
That's smart.
When that first came out. And I think there's still people, I still run into people at shows who are like, they know some of my like super obscure, never properly released songs from the Napster days. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the guys are coming around, they're sniffing around, and are you picking up a draw pretty quick, or because it's hard to get a draw in L.A. But you were a good-looking dude, and you had some tunes.
Thank you, sir.
You know what I'm saying, though? That's a bonus, man, because then you're gonna get some girls coming around. When you got girls coming around to the gigs, then you got dudes coming around, and then if you got good songs, now you've got a perfect storm. You know what I'm saying?
My point with the Napster story was, I don't know if it was obvious, but it just reminded me that at that time, getting a record deal was everything.
Yeah.
It was like there was no other way. It was like you got to get a deal. It was the dream. It was the old fucking
that was it.
Dream. So yeah, luckily I had a lot of friends. It was only friends who would come to shows at first, and then at Largo we started to build a little following. But ultimately, before I'd played out, I moved out in '96, took it seriously. I was going to give myself about 4 years to try and get signed.
You put a number on it.
Yeah, because I said if I go to law school, it'll be 3 years before I could be a pro lawyer if I pass the bar. I'll give myself like 4 years to try and do this, and if not, fucking pack it up. And there were many moments in between that where I was going to quit. I remember my friend, one of my best friends since second grade, his kid Chauncey. I was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. After like maybe a year in, I was just frustrated and discouraged. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Nothing's really happening. And he was like, fuck you. He threw me on the grass. I remember.
Really?
Yeah. He threw me down the grass. He said, fuck you. You're doing it. You're doing it. Like one of those funny, real moments,
Yeah. And some Hollywood shit.
Yeah.
There.
Like
you didn't come all the way out here, you pussy.
Yeah, it was like that, man. And then we probably did giant bong hits, and I was like, all right, I forgot about it. I kept going.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I think that I was developing that whole time. Like I said, when I first got to Largo, I was like, and then at a certain point, I think I really was able to develop more, and I needed to develop more, even though I was writing a lot of songs. I think it was more my performance. I've never liked performing that much. Very shy and very nervous, and still, I've been able to wrap my head around it much more because I figure what the fuck at this point, but I'm never like, I want to be on the stage, It was never my thing. I was always kind of just maybe, I'm nauseous, So I think I played around for a few years, but ultimately I said, and we actually were offered a couple of deals that I was advised against.
Really?
Luckily, I had some good people around me. Like, it looks good, and it's exciting, but ultimately, it's not that great of a deal. And if you don't need to do it, maybe just wait. And we said no to a couple deals.
Wow. That's pretty. Were you working a day job, or were your parents rich? How are you surviving at the time?
Well, let me tell you this. I was very fortunate where I crashed on my big brother's couches for a while, you know. And I was able to really focus on music, and I'm very grateful for that. Looking back, like at the time, I don't think I realized I was just a fucking kid. And I was like, yeah, of course, I'm going to crash on my brother's couch, whatever. But looking back, all these things came together to enable me to be able to really focus on music and recording and spend my days doing that. There were times where I was like a PA and like an intern at some like production companies for a little bit, but it was really more for the experience, just to do that. Remember delivering like wine and stuff around town, shit like that. But when it came time, when I saw Sloan in probably 1998, 97, 98 at the Troubadour where your buddy was playing last night.
Yep.
And I was just fucking blown away. I'm watching them like, oh my God. And I'm thinking to myself, Sloan's a band from Halifax, Nova Scotia. If you don't know, they're just amazing rock and roll band. Everyone switches instruments. Great band. But I saw them play, and I became discouraged again. I'm like, if these guys, they were huge in Canada, but they never really cracked over here that much.
Right.
It's like, if these guys aren't fucking huge here, like, what's the point? They're so good. I ain't gonna be any better than this band, And I went outside, smoked a cigarette, and at that moment, I met this kid, Walt Vincent, who happened to be standing there. I think maybe he asked me for a light or vice versa, and we start talking, and we hit it off, and we both felt the same way, and he would ultimately be the one that I connected with that I made my first record with. We started recording in the Valley in Van Nuys like 2 weeks later. He said, hey, I got a little home studio, come out.
That's how Hollywood works, dude.
It's just fate. It's just all little chance meetings.
I believe in that so much, man. Like, I always tell people, they go, hey, when should I move out to LA or New York? And I go, yesterday. Because if you're not mining for the gold, if you're not in the river panning for gold, you're never going to find nuggets. And I believe in that because my life has always been like that, man. I've been somewhere at a party and met someone, and all of a sudden something fucking, and been a whole life changer, you know, just from being in these spots on the earth where art's being made, and especially the Troubadour. I was talking about it last night. I feel that place is one of the most underrated venues in the United States, because when you think back of that early Eagles stuff and what they were doing with Linda Ronstadt and all that, and all the way through the punk, and then GNR and all that stuff, all the way up into even like Wilco, early Wilco and all that, all country was going on in there. That room definitely has something that's fucking spooky awesome. You know, like as I was out front talking about, like, look at that, you're out there and then your life changes, you know?
Yeah, you can't predict that stuff. Even if you... like, and you're not looking for it either. I think you're just living your life. It's only like, you know, they say you could connect the dots backwards very easily. You see, oh wow, is that, and you see how much, you know, they talk about sliding doors or fate, whatever, but you see it. But if you tried to predict all that, you know, it's always where you're not even looking for it. You're like, wow, that thing happened. But that was a very important moment because I met Walt that night, and we started recording together, and we just had a wonderful kind of flow. Where
was he a producer?
Yeah, he was like a producer, but he hadn't done much stuff at that point. He just kind of set up this little home studio.
Was it tape at the time?
No, everyone was kind of getting into early Pro Tools.
Oh, Pro Tools.
It wasn't even Pro Tools. It was Digital Performer he had.
Wow.
And we did everything in the room, no joke, like half the size of this room.
Wow. The first record.
After. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And at that time, too, I decided, you know what? I'm sick of playing it. I just want to make the fucking greatest record I can make.
Yeah.
If I can do that, the music, that was the currency. If I can make this music that hopefully would, you know, just hold up for... I remember thinking, like, if I'm proud of it in 10 years, I'll be fine. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I just want to like it. And so I stopped playing out completely.
Wow.
And we finished the record.
And you play all the instruments.
I'm playing most of them. Walt plays some stuff, too.
Right. So on the record, you're playing, of course, bass. You play drums on it?
Yeah, I play drums, bass, guitars.
And what's he play, like lead or something?
It depends on what. Some songs he's on bass, some songs I'm on bass, some songs he's playing a lead, some songs I'm playing a lead. You know, just whatever. He did a lot of beautiful like synth string kind of real emotional stuff that pulls out. And then, you know, halfway through working on that record, then we got signed to Columbia just from like the early recordings of that.
Well, so you're doing that, and then you're passing it around, and Columbia hears it and goes, holy shit, let's do a record. Do they insert some money, and all of a sudden do you leave that studio and go somewhere else?
There was a lot of temptation to do that. Yeah. But I was like, you know, part of it's like young naivete, you know, and part of it was just like being so pure. I was like, I don't know, we're just doing something that I love here. I'm not like, there's all of a sudden like, oh, now we're on Columbia. Now should we get it like, I remember this one guy used to joke around. He didn't even think Walt Vincent existed. He thought he was like a fake name that I was using. Yeah. Because no one had ever heard of him. And, what was that guy's name? I forget. But he was a very real person, a very talented person. But there was temptation, like, okay, now we're on Columbia. Now we should go work with this name or this big thing or all that. And I was like, you know what? We're doing something that sounds like us. It felt really special. And Brad Wood, who's a producer, he got into the mix, and he said to us, he's like, I want to work with you guys and help you guys do your vision. But I just want to keep working in your garage. Like, however you guys are doing this, it seems really special, and I don't want to fuck it up. I just want you guys to keep doing what you're doing. I want to help you fulfill that any way that I can. And he gave us the confidence, I think, to say also, like, yeah, we don't need anything. Let's just keep doing our thing. And I think it ultimately made it more special, and it has a certain sound because we kept it very organic and very close to whatever we were creating at that time. It was just our thing, you know?
It fucking sounds great, because it's funny, I listened to some early records of mine, and I can tell right away, you know, immediately sonically, I'm like, oh, that was the ADAT ears, or oh, that's 3 different studios. It's 16 track, but then we had to go to this guy's studio, and early Pro Tools, and even what you're talking about. It was it's interesting how great and organic that record sounds, because it was really a vibe killer for me, because I really like to work on spontaneity in a studio, like roll the tape, boom, okay, we're going. And with that, it would be back then, especially, the guy would be loading something up. You'd just be sitting around 2-3 cigarettes later. You're like, are we ready yet? Almost, man. Oh, it crashed. And you're like, it's really, I could see some great coming out of it out of frustration. But for me, it was like early internet. I never got into it till the DSL lines came out, because the guy would be like, come in and look at this. And the picture would be loading for an hour. So it's amazing how great that record sounds and a vibe that you got, you know? Did you guys mix it somewhere else?
Yes. The rough mixes sounded great, but one thing I remember Brad was adamant about, he's like, we got to bounce it all to tape. Once it was all recorded, he really thought that running it through tape would somehow give it maybe an extra...
Some bottom end.
Something. And so we said, okay, so we went to the record plant to mix maybe for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we ran it through tape, and then Brad worked really hard to kind of, ultimately we were just chasing the rough mixes, you know, that fucking thing that happens. You're like, damn, if the new mix, it's not beating that rough mix, what are we going to do? And like Brad was like, I think it was frustrating for everybody to try and get back to that, because you don't want to feel like you have to, but sometimes it's just the best thing. And luckily, we ended up beating the rough mixes. Brad did a great job, and I think the record sounds really full and nice for what we were working with back then. And I think, and I come back to, like, I remember at the time I was like, digital performer, like Pro Tools. It sounds so lame. What is this, Pro Tools?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I want to record on like tape and all that, but everything was kind of changing. And what it was, I realized very fast, a few of my friends had embraced it, and they showed me what they can do. And they came from a place of good taste, I think. Like, they were into the right music and the right sounds.
Yeah.
And I realized fast it wasn't so much the car, it was the driver. Because if we go back, there's tons of crappy, lame records that were recorded on tape through giant consoles in the 80s. Of
course.
That's like, so if you think of it that way, like, it's like, it depends who you're working with, and if they could get something special out of this new technology at the time and create, something fun. It was fun for me too, because I had made early demos to tape where I would kind of play everything and jump around. I'd play drums, and then I'd go and I'd play bass, and then I'd play guitar. But it was hard to cut up then and move stuff if you wanted to. Back then, I could really, once we went to digital, we could really experiment with arrangements. Like, I just love the way this chorus sits right here, and we could just take it, if we did it to a click, and just move it over here. It's like two identical choruses.
Or double the chorus.
Yeah.
Or cut part of a verse out, or anything. It's a gene. I mean, I remember when I auditioned for Velvet Revolver. It was when I first really got into...
You play guitar? What do you play?
No, I was a singer. And I auditioned to sing for the group, and they gave me 2 songs, and my buddy was really good at it. He dumped them in, and, they gave me these 8-minute songs, just riffs. And immediately my brain opened up to, like, it was a blank canvas. I go, wait a minute. This song isn't anything yet. It's just it's riffs and, parts. And so I put it together, just like you're talking about. I go, okay, this is going to be my verse. This is going to be my pre-chorus. This will be my chorus. And I put it together and then started writing lyrics. And so I started getting into it, just like you're talking about. Like, wow, man. And if you got a good guy, like you're saying, this guy was fast.
Yes.
I'd be like, dude, that's what I want, fast, because the ideas are coming fast, and you have to have the guy ready. So you're like, okay, I got it right here. Move this to here. Okay, yeah, perfect. Now I'm going to sing a chorus here. And if you got that, a good guy, like you said, it's amazing. Because some of the guy, if you look at some of these early guys, like, say, Beck and Elliott Smith, like Stupidity Tries, that era and stuff, where they're 4-tracking, and they were king. There was guys that were kings on 4 tracks, man. You were just like, dudes that made Beatles sound and shit on 4 tracks, like Tascam cassettes and shit, So it does come down to whoever the engineer is, and sometimes the guy is a genius, and that's the guy you want to work with forever.
Yeah, and you get spoiled too, like if you work with some of these guys who are just like, super fast editing and moving stuff around, and then you go with someone slow, you're just like, oh shit, you get spoiled. And so one of the most fun things, even still today, like, even last week recording, it's like you sing something over a certain melody of the music, and like if I'm working with someone, they're like, hey, let's move this over to this other part of the song, and it works in a part of the song that you didn't even think about singing it. It's even more magical.
Yeah.
Stuff like that you can do. So it's a great writing tool. You could really come up with a lot of
is.
stuff. So, yeah.
That's what's great about doing comedy compared to music, because music, there's an arrangement of a song. With comedy, there's a thread, but at any time you could move part of the joke into a different area, and organically as you're going, you're like, oh, I could actually drop this joke right here. I've never even thought of this. And now you're figuring out a bigger picture, and that comes pretty organic from performing. Where songs, you couldn't do that unless you're just doing improvised, jazz or The Dead or something where you're just jamming parts. But it's that's what I love about comedy.
It's cool you say that, because I was at I'm like practicing for my acoustic tour, and I like sometimes play like 25, 30 songs, and I just, the way I practice, I just start playing songs, and for me, like if you told me I had to go up on stage and tell jokes for an hour, I'd be like, how the fuck am I gonna do that? Or I had to go up and even talk for an hour, I'd be like, oh, that bugged me out. If you tell me I gotta go up and sing songs for an hour, I was like, well, they just go by. My brain could figure that out. Yeah. So I saw a great comedian at Largo a few weeks ago, and she was rehearsing, doing her practicing a new routine, and I was just so blown away, like how she just over an hour and change, she just goes from joke to joke. And I said this to my wife, I'm like, I wonder if comedians approach their set like if they see the jokes as songs,
Yeah.
And it's just like, to them it's just like, okay, I know this joke, I know it like I would know a song,
Right.
And it's just they do the joke like singing a song, and it's not for them to do that. It just makes sense in that way, and that's how you can create it. And do you feel that at all? Does that make any sense? Or?
Well, yeah, absolutely, because you look at it as what they're called as bits. So let's say I've got a whole chunk on apartment hunting. So I know, like, if I'm looking at a set list, it's just apartment hunting. Now, once you know the bit inside and out, you can do the bit in any kind of really order you want, but you figure out the order of where the big laughs come, and usually you kind of stick to that. But when you have all the bits, like a set list, when you're looking at a set list and you feel the crowd out and you go, oh, I don't want to play Strange Condition yet, that's too soon. The same with big jokes. You go, oh, I've got this really big one. I don't want to hit, too hard at the top, because then so now you're moving around also in your head like, oh, this crowd's kind of dead. I better go to a big bit here. So it's all audible. You're calling audibles as you're going in your head, unless you're just a guy who's really structured like a Seinfeld, like this is how it goes. But with me, I remember one of the biggest compliments I heard was about a month ago. A guy came to 2 shows, which is always weird. He came on a Friday and came on a Sunday. He goes, I saw 2 shows. They were totally different. And I go, oh, thank you. Because to me, I have to kind of keep it completely different all the time, or I become a robot. And once you become a robot, now you're not in it. I like the danger of like, oh man, anything could fucking happen. It might not be good tonight, but at least I was alive, Like, I really have a hard time with bands as I get older that do the same set list every night, and they use the excuse of light cues and all that. I think that's lazy. That's for me. I think a great band is somebody that where you go and each night you don't know what the fuck's going to happen, and they don't either. You do need the boundaries, of course, of like, look, we do know we're going to play Born to Run, and we do know we're going to play, Born in the USA or something. But in between that, and which Bruce does a lot, is calls audibles. And I love listening to the interviews with the band. They're like, he could throw out a tune that we haven't played since 79, and you better be ready. And I like that about performing. I think it's really keeps you alive in the arts, as corny as that may sound. But you need something for yourself when you're on the road. It gets robotic. You're like, all right, here's the 15. Of course, it's great to have a well-rehearsed tour that looks like, God, those guys blew my mind. But I also do like where things could fall apart, like a Black Crowes show in the 90s. At any time, you're like, where are these guys? But then they pull it back and you go, God, that was amazing, you know? It's comedy and music are a lot like the same, I say, you know? The audience is your drummer. Their laughter is your rhythm, you know what I mean? It's the beat. And you don't want to push the audience or drag the audience, you know, like you would a drummer. Like, come on, speed up. You speed up, you're mowing over the laughs. You slow down, they start fucking fading. It's a interesting gig, you know. Now, when that record comes out, it fucking explodes, man. I mean, you got to be pretty. Like, was it a fast explosion? Because I remember all of a sudden Pete Yorn was everywhere. You're doing TV spots, you're touring all over, you got a hit song, and it's selling, and the shows are full. Were you surprised? Did it happen right away? Or the radio play, like AAA radio? Who's grabbing that?
It felt like, you know, it seemed like overnight, but of course it wasn't. Nothing's overnight, you know, and I was working at it hard for a long time and getting to a place where I'd be ready to do all that. In fact, the record didn't come out. I was 27. I wasn't even, you know, I was already 27 years old, I feel like, when I first came out. But, you know, we got, you know, I remember thinking, like, I don't know who's going to like this music, but I know I like it. And I had so many friends on bands who got signed to major labels and nothing happened. They get dropped, you know, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I knew to set my, to protect myself, just to set my expectations pretty low. And just keep it pure of like about the music, and if I, you know, just do something that I like. And we just got lucky. I remember they you know, the label had it for like a finish for about a year before it came out.
Holy shit! They sat on it that long?
Yeah, they weren't sure what to do with it. And,
were you getting frustrated?
We were starting to do stuff, you know, in between that moment, but I think it wasn't until they kind of they started to send it out to like press and stuff, and they got a really, you know, good response. Like, people just seemed to like it, and I kept like, what's going on with this record? So then they finally put it on the schedule, and yeah, like AAA was great. There was a really amazing AAA promotions woman at the label named Trina Tombrink, who I'm still close with to this day, and she was just like fucking killer. She would go in there and bring like, I think the first single was Life on a Chain.
Oh yeah, what a great tune.
She'd bring it to the stations, and you know, she got that thing to number one, stayed number one for like, I don't know, 7 weeks or something at that time. We were like, holy shit, like, you know.
Yeah.
And like, so once the record came out, things did start to happen pretty quick. I remember I was meeting with agents, you know, and agents in you know, in music, they just book shows. That's what they do. And I'm like, well, should I go with this guy? I remember, you know, a lot of people were promising a lot of stuff. And the agent I went with was the guy who said, you know, you're going to be fucking sweating it out in a van probably for years. You know, it's just going to be like, you know, it's going to be rough out there. And I was like, this guy seems honest. I like him. I go with him.
Yeah.
His name's Don Muller.
Don Muller.
Donnie Muller.
Oh, my God. What was that, Triad at the time? Or was it later Willie Morris?
I think he might have just started Artist Direct.
Dude, I remember Don Muller because early on he was like a Triad or something, and he had like Soundgarden back in the day, you know, like on the Louder Than Love tour, you know. It's like,
yeah, he's old school.
He's old school.
And
wow.
He seemed like it's just a straight shooter.
Now, was your brother managing you?
My brother was managing me at that time, and I don't know, we had someone else. Like, he was, you know, me and him, you know, we'd been in the bands together. We had such our thing, so we were, you know. Well, he's always the guy with me, because we just have that thing. But then we always have like a more pure music manager involved. And I don't, man, it's so foggy. I don't remember if it was not Danny Field, but Dan Field yet at that time, or who it was, or if it was just me and Rick early on. But my point is, the record came out, we did one van tour, and then it was all of a sudden just big enough where we were able to get a bus. And I was like, holy shit.
That's fucking great.
I was like, I couldn't believe it. You know, believe me, like, we grew up in Jersey, you know, Morris County, Jersey. My dad was a dentist, like I said. Like now people, you know, they know of my brothers, of Hollywood, but we weren't Hollywood people at all. We were from Jersey. We came out and
it's crazy to think. Your older brother's an entertainment lawyer. Rick's a huge industry guy, and then none of your family, like if you look at it, you go, well, definitely probably the family was in New York. They're probably like big wigs. And I know, and he's a it's so like awesome, actually. It's a great story, you know?
I remember the whole reason that my oldest brother came out here and he wanted to become a prosecutor. So he worked for the DA's office. He was like an assistant DA for like 7 years.
Wow.
Hardcore gang unit. And,
wow.
And so my middle brother followed him out when he graduated school, but he moved to San Diego first. He was working at like Shearson Lehman on New York hours, like up at like 3 a.m. every day. And he would go up on weekends to visit my brother, who was still in the DA's office. And, you know, they'd go out and party. It was like, early 90s, and they're hanging out probably down the street, all that shit, Bar One and all that.
Yeah.
And they actually lived down Doheny, like Almont, like just south of 3rd, I think.
Oh, yeah,
and,
by the Troubadour or something.
A little south of that.
Yeah.
But, like kind of behind the Four Seasons, a couple blocks, in apartments down there. And I remember my brother telling me this story. He's like, yeah, I met some like agent guys or whatever, and I was like, fucking, these guys are fucking I could fucking do this, and screw the finance thing. And he bailed from San Diego, he quit his job, and he moved up and he lived on my brother's futon for like a year, and he got a job.
Your brother's got a magic futon. I think I need to sleep on that fucking thing.
I luckily never had to sleep on that futon, but Brick slept on Kevin's futon for a bit, and he just like got a job working as like an assistant for some agent. And he just worked his way up from there, and it's a very, very cool story. But those guys, they just want to rock. They're rockers at heart.
At the same time you're doing this record, you end up doing music for one of the comedy classics, Me, Myself, and Irene. So this is like a perfect storm. At the same time you're doing your debut, you're doing music for this fucking movie. And, I mean, your head's got to be kind of popping off. You're like, here's this Jersey dude. And all of a sudden, the Farley brothers, you're doing this classic, and you're doing your debut record. Now you got a record on Columbia and shit. That's got to be crazy, because that movie becomes a cult classic. That's Jim Carrey, right? Yeah. Here we are, right here.
Yeah.
That's crazy that you're doing that, right?
Yeah, that was great. I remember we were going into we were just starting to mix the music for the morning after. I think we were going to start at the record plant like the next day, and I got a call from Pete Farrelly. I think on my first cell phone, I had a cell phone, and he's like, "Hey, Pete. It's Pete Farrelly." I'd met him once before, maybe at Largo. I knew his like production partner, Bradley Thomas, was a great guy, and he had heard my music, and he got him like Just Another Strange Condition, some of the early those rough mixes,
Yeah.
And he just jumped on it. He liked it. He's like, "Hey man, I want to put a couple songs in my movie." I was like, "Sure, dude," and he's like, "I want you to score it too." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, why not? You could score it. You do it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that was the conversation.
That had to be a pretty good paycheck, right?
It wasn't much. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't much. But I knew I pulled Walt in to do it with me, and then there was this other guy named Lee who was already kind of involved with them, and so he worked on it too. And I remember this must be 98, 99.
Yeah.
And he was all like, "Man, I'm going to this thing called Burning Man." I'm like, what the fuck's that Burning Man?
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh man, like we go out in the desert and up in fucking wherever the hell, Utah, wherever the hell it is." He's like, "Can we just do weird shit?" And I was like, "Well, okay, cool, man." Like I remember years later when Burning Man became, I was like, that guy Lee was talking about Burning Man, and then I think they
back then.
And they probably had it years before that, but for me, that was the first time I heard of it, and I thought it was like, what the fuck is Burning Man? I remember thinking it's like fucking weird shit. But I just remembered that. Sorry. But but I remember thinking, how am I going to fucking score this movie and mix the record? Because the record was everything to me. But I was like, you can't say no. Let's just figure it out. So we figured it out, and we did it.
When you get out and the record's hitting and stuff, are you starting to meet some idols? Are people coming around? Are you opening for people that you were like, holy shit, man? Like, what was going on?
Yeah, like my early tours. The first tour, we got to open for Blues Traveler. And
oh, wow.
I was like,
that was their big record, right?
It was a little later.
Yeah, because the big record was 96, I think, that Run Around and
this
all
would
that.
have been like 2000.
Right.
And that was cool. Those guys were great. And there was a Jersey connection too. And they were so good to us. And that, gave us the opportunity to just get out and hone the live thing on the road. And all
What are they
that.
doing? Sheds at the time? Big.
They were doing like theaters and.
But they had that huge kind of Dead following.
Yeah, they had like a good jam band following, and they were awesome. And then I remember getting a tour with like a good, because I feel like the record wasn't easy to pigeonhole if you really listen to it. It was like it had singer songwriter elements, but also had like kind of rock and roll elements.
Yeah.
And I was coming from all the Britpop stuff that I loved and all kind of the Americana stuff that I loved.
And this is right before like Strokes and Yeah Yeah Yeahs and all that hits. So there is kind of like there's kind of this open air of like, it was like there was no real thing going on. It was just, if you could play like I say, you could play like a Horde tour, let's say, but you could also play a Lollapalooza.
Yeah, and that's what I remember. One of the first tour after Blues Travel, because the record wasn't out at that point. We got the opportunity to tour before the record came out.
Wow.
But when the first one, when it did come out that week, I hit the road, and the first two shows we did a tour with Sunny Day Real Estate.
Oh yeah.
Which was one of my favorite bands.
Great band.
Like the complete opposite of Blues Traveler, And I remember we worked our way up the coast, but for some reason, on one of the nights off, then we also opened for Junior Brown.
Wow.
In like Santa Cruz, at a place called Palookaville.
Oh yeah. I remember that. I used to play that.
And I was like, okay, I could cater the set to open it for Junior Brown. Like I felt like we could go either way, and I could play more of my rootsy stuff, and it worked great. And it was fun to be able to kind of straddle different worlds a little bit. So then we toured a lot. But as far as you were asking me if I got to tour with any, got to tour with REM. Was like, holy shit, they were like my heroes. A lot of bands. I remember getting to meet Springsteen for the first time.
Wow.
Like, I was listening to all. I was like a little kid, like holy shit,
He came to a show or something?
I went to his show and I was able to get backstage and meet him, and it was before my record came out, but I'd just been signed to Columbia, and it was something to talk about. I think maybe someone at the label maybe put it together, but yeah, that stuff's always cool, and now I think about it, like now. Funny, I saw one of my biggest musical heroes is Morrissey, and I was at the Ramones tribute, the other Johnny Ramone tribute the other night, which I go to every year, and all of a sudden Morrissey comes walking by, and I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
And my wife's like, well, you go talk to him. I'm like, you don't go talk to Morrissey. I'm like, I'm not going to talk to him. Like, I don't even want to meet him. I just want to just Morrissey's here. That's great. That's so cool. But I'm going to say to Morrissey. I got nothing to say to him.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Yeah.
When you get the deal and everything's going on, of course there's no Pete Yorn band. This gets into a tricky thing. You decide, okay, you got to put together a band, and you start to hire some guys, which gets kind of bizarre, right? Because they're hired guys, but you play on the records. How do you find the dudes? Are they just some LA guys that you knew from Largo and all that? And how does this go? And how long does the original guys last before they're gone? Do you use them on the second record? What happens?
Here's what happened. By far, the hardest thing to nail down was a drummer.
Yeah.
Because,
of course,
for me as a drummer, I was very picky about that, and I needed a certain thing where for our live show, I needed someone who kind of could really flow and get crazy like Keith Moon, but also someone who had the kind of training to really play to a click as well.
Right.
So I needed someone who could play to a click, but also swung pretty hard, and that was really hard to find. I think we tried, not exaggerating, 60 drummers.
Whoa.
There was a great guy who would help people audition bands. Named Barry Squire. And
I know Barry Squire. Yeah, he was the guy that had every guy you call him, I'm looking for a guitar player that can play like Black Flag. He's like, I got 6 guys.
Yeah. And he'll organize it. He'll say, okay, let's go down to this rehearsal space, and I'm going to bring the guys in, 20 minutes a pop. Okay, next. And we did that with the drummer. And ultimately, we didn't find one. I think there were like 60 guys. We finally settled on a guy.
Yeah.
Who we might have got through Barry like the next time, named Scotty Coogan, and he plays in like Brides of Destruction now, I think. He played with he was like a metal kid at heart, but from Chicago, and he was awesome. And he was the drummer for the live band at the beginning before the record came out. And then the rest of the guys were my friends. Like there was a guy named Joe Kennedy who was I was the drummer in his band in college, for fun. And he had just moved out here. I was like, dude, you want to be? He was like, oh, just a secret weapon, keyboards, guitars, singing, everything. He's just a wizard.
That's a great guy.
And so he
kind of like Jellyfish Dudes, you get to do like that.
Yeah,
You're
just a muso, but like awesome hang, great guy. And so him, and then my buddy Waz, who was in the band with me and my brother, he played guitar. And then Walt, who was my producing partner, he played bass.
Wow.
And that was the original band. But they didn't last long on the road. Once we started touring, and the record came out, maybe they lasted like under a year, I feel like. Once the record came out, I think Walt left first. I remember he pulled me aside in Lawrence, Kansas, and we were playing down there. He said, "Hey, I got to tell you something." Like, what's up? He's like, "I'm not gonna be able to stay on the road much longer. I'm gonna, I got to be home." And he had maybe some home pressures and stuff, whatever it was. Like, some people aren't cut out for the road.
Of course, you get
hard.
out there and you're like, oh, and then the record starts to take off. That's when it becomes this machine takes over, and all of a sudden, oh, we're not going home for a year.
Yeah, it could be like we toured 18 months straight on the first record.
Wow.
And so, it wears on you. And then Waz, the guitar player, also kind of was burning out, and he had to bail. But the drummer who I went through 60 guys to find, we shoot a video for Life in a Chain with Samuel Bayer, I remember. And that day, we're about to go to New York to play like Letterman and launch the record, everything.
Yeah.
And he tells me, he goes, "Hey man, I kind of like, I have my other band that I'm in, and I'm like a songwriter in, and we got a deal, and I'm going to have to bail because I got to pursue this because it's kind of like I'm just a paid guy in your band."
What the fuck? He doesn't even say anything?
And he's a good guy.
Yeah, I know, but that's just crazy.
I was really pissed. I was like, what? Like, dude, we got this thing. What? I mean, come on. And he's like, I understood why he needed to do that, but like he kind of left me in the lurch, a little bit.
And he should have told you ahead of time,
I
right?
don't think he knew. I think it just all happened, and the timing was bad. But luckily, another dude stepped in, Luke Adams, Jersey kid, who my boy Joey K knew, and he replaced him. And then he was in the touring band when the record came out, and or like a little bit after the record came out, and for most I think Scott ended up doing that one gig, and then we had to train a new guy who was also great, both great drummers, and they worked out. So we got lucky that a second awesome drummer fell in our lap,
especially after looking for 60. So then you got a new drummer, and you're up, and then now you're just out touring forever, 18 months.
Yeah, we toured a lot, and at the time, now if I thought about doing that, I'd be fucking, I'd freak out. But back then, it was like everything was new. It was like, holy shit, the record's doing good. I like singing the songs. Everyone was so great. If it was like it was that dream ride at that time that you just dream about as a kid. Like, holy shit, it was amazing. It was really wild.
When you come home and you start to do the second record, are you writing tunes on the road and then just go right into the studio, or do you take some time off? And does the band end up playing on the second record?
Yeah, I remember writing a few songs on the road for sure. I already had some songs written that were ready to go. And no, I think we were like, well, we did good with the first record. Let's approach it kind of the same way with playing everything the way we did. So for the most part, it was also
different studio.
Another home studio down the street from Walt's house,
right?
At his lawyer's house, had a little home studio there, but in Culver City. Both times in Culver City. Started in Van Nuys, but then Culver City, because Walt moved. But and then we brought in some like hero producers like Scott Litt, who had worked with REM and done so much stuff that we love. He helped produce a few songs, and Brad Wood came back, and we were just having fun. But we pretty much hit it quick. I think I didn't take much time off, and back then I was like, I didn't have a family, I got nothing else to do but do this, so let's go.
I remember specifically while we were on the road that it seemed like the Pete Yorn machine was in full force. Your album cover was every city. It was just plastered on billboards and everything. And I was like, oh my God, like this fucking guy has got the machine behind him. When this record comes out, I seriously, I talked about it at the top of the show, but I thought it was one of the greatest records I heard in a long time. And I was way into it. Were you surprised that, because the first one goes gold. The second one does do good, but it doesn't sell like that one. Were you surprised? Because I'm always surprised, and it really pisses me off, really, that people say this all the time, and it's a perfect example with the Wallflowers. They're like, oh yeah, I love that record. Whatever happened to them? And it's like, well, they put out like 5 records after that were great. I mean, I think Wallflowers' Red Letter Days is one of the greatest records he put out, and that's 5 records in. Nobody even fucking hears it. People lose interest in not interest, but I think they just so scattered now because of the internet. By the time a second record comes out, they've already like, oh yeah, that guy. You know what I mean? Were you surprised? Because you were getting the heavy push, and the songs I thought were even better.
Yeah, it's there's always that second record thing, whatever. But for me, well, I think what people understand is like Music for Morning After never cracked. I don't know if it ever cracked the top 200 of the Billboard thing. It was always on that Heat Seekers chart, remember?
Right.
And, at that time, it was like, wow, you watch that shit. It's kind of just like kind of fun and interesting. And, but it was just a slow burn, it was just this slow, steady burn. And it got a great major label push for something that, wasn't like exactly pop. It was like, it was just like, it was what it was. And then when the next record came out, the debuted, like top 20 or something like that on the Billboard chart.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, so I think that's my
Wow.
one of my highest charting things
Right.
ever, And I remember, and it was still the tail end of the old school way. Like, it was still like not everything was just streaming and digital yet, so you could still maybe
2003.
Yeah, but it was, I always think, I remember like I kind of got in at the very end of the old way of putting out music, and like I said, in the early days I was even using Napster to kind of help get the word out. And then after the first record, everything changed. It's hard to say what it would have sold, if that never happened, if it would have matched the first record or whatever, or not. But yeah, it's funny, a lot of people, their first experience is with Music for the Morning After, and they have so many connections to that, and it's such an awesome thing I'm so grateful for. And then there are some people who are like, for whatever reason, they didn't like the next record, but then they liked the next one or whatever it was. And then there's some people who like, that second record is their favorite one of mine.
Oh my
for
God.
whatever reason. Maybe because it rocks a little harder. I don't know what it is. Andy Wallace mixed Nirvana.
Wow, Andy Wallace.
They were like, let's fucking he did Jeff Buckley and Nirvana. I was like, that's good. Let's use
that
guy.
Jeff Buckley record. Yeah.
But the cool thing is all those songs I still love to play them, and that's one thing you were talking about, how you need that spontaneity, when you're sets and to be able to move around. One thing with me, like when I play with the band, it's great, but we kind of need to we know we're only going to know a certain amount of songs. Like I know if I'm on stage, I'm like, oh, I want to go into this song. They're not going to know it,
Right.
But when I play solo acoustic, if you go on setlist.fm, you look, my set list is completely different every night. And I love, that's one of the things I love. It's like scary at the same time. It also, it's like it's like one of the only rock and roll freedoms I feel I still have, where I could just go wherever I want, or take requests, or just the whole show is audible. So I'm like in my head working to this thing. I'm like before the show, I never know, there's this nervousness of like, what's going to happen? Like, we don't know. And I don't even know what I'm going to open with till I walk on stage. We go out and then it starts to go. And from that, I'm like, oh, we can play this now. Oh, we can play this. I'm like, what do you want to hear? Okay, we go into this. And that's one of the coolest thing about the acoustic shows for me, is that there's no, it's very free in that way. And ultimately, that's what music, that's the reason I got into music. I'm inherently lazy. I don't think I wanted to really work and have a real job. I was like, I want to play fucking music because I love it, and I was very passionate about it. But like, I'm like for me, like the freedom of music, you can forget it when you get in that machine. You forget why you even got in it, and you're just trying to like do this and results and get the hit and all that stuff, or you're trying to sound like what's on the fucking radio and all shit. And I'm like, no, like rock and roll, when you were a kid and you were like, all of my memories of playing music as a kid, once I was a certain age, it was all around like drinking or smoking and hanging out with your friends. And then when you're trying to recreate that feeling as a job, you're like, well, I don't know how to do this without like drinking and smoking and all that shit. And then you kind of witness that, and you create a balance in that, obviously, and you do plenty of that probably when you're younger, and then you got to rein that in, otherwise you'll fucking croak.
Absolutely.
So now it's like, the freedom for me is being able to go anywhere I want during the set and play whatever I'm feeling in that moment, and that's really fun and interesting to me. And kind of, I feel like I'm able to connect more with everybody that way, and it's just really fun. So that's one of the special things about the way I've been touring this past year with the solo.
Do you tell stories and stuff too while you're up there?
Yeah, if I'm feeling it, you know, a lot of times like I'll forget the story until that moment, just like when we're talking, I'm like, oh yeah, something will jog my memory and it'll come out, and I'm happy to tell stories, or I get stories from people in the crowd, see like what their connection to a song is. If they're asking for it, I'm always curious what it means to them.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Back and Forth record, because it's funny because I'm even guilty myself. I get up and running, and then life goes by, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I missed the Nightcrawler record completely, which was strange to me because I was such a giant fan of Day I Forgot. And then I get the Back and Forth record, and I was like, this is a great record. I remember Paradise Cove. Rami was living out there at the time, and I was like, this is a great tune.
I wrote it. I went to see Rami.
Yeah.
And we hung out for one afternoon, and I went home and I wrote Paradise Cove after hanging with Rami.
Wow. Yeah. It's funny because you do Paradise Cove on 2 records, and was that like because you thought it was such a great a song that it didn't get seen? Because then you do it on the Frank Black record, and of course it's a total different vibe. But was there a reason for that?
There was no intention. Originally it was recorded with Frank Black for that record, and I remember when I started working on Back and I loved the rawness of the original Paradise Cove 1, it's called. And I remember when I started working on Back and Forth, I did the record with Frank Black in a week up in Salem, Oregon, and we just banged that out. And so then I took a bunch of different songs and went to Omaha to work with Mike Mogus to make Back and Forth. And
so that was done before the Frank Black record was done before, but comes out after.
Yeah, it was right before I went to Omaha. I made it. I remember my brother was like, "What are you doing? You can't go to Oregon. You're going to Omaha next week. Get focused." And I'm like, "No, I'm going to work with Frank Black." He called, and we're going to do this, and we did. And I had the flu the whole time. I was so sick, and he didn't even care. He was like, "Don't worry, you'll be fine."
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, I'm worried. Are you don't care about getting the flu?" He's like, "No, I don't care." He's like, "I'll be fine. Let's go."
How does Frank Black find you?
I think we got connected through one of my first A&R people, speaking of A&R, Nancy Walker, who was at Columbia.
Yeah.
And I think she, as simple as, she emailed me one day, it was like, I think you should work with Frank Black. And I was like, yeah, I think I should work with Frank Black too.
Absolutely.
Why? Is he doing stuff? She's like, yeah, he's looking to produce some stuff. And one thing led to another, and we did it. And he was just amazing, great guy. But so I go to Omaha, and I'm dead set. Mogus keeps saying, the producer in Omaha, he's like a Saddle Creek guy, he keeps saying, he's like, that song Paradise Cove, you gotta let me recut that with you. Come on. I'm like, no, we're not recutting that. That's for the other record. And I was like, no. And then finally, after a few weeks, he broke me down, and he started getting some cool stuff. And I was like, it might be cool to try it, to try a different version. Yeah. And so we redid it, and I really love the version that I was surprised that ended up doing with Mogus. It's a breezy kind of
it's
whole different
great
thing.
I mean, that's a great song. You have wrote some amazing songs, man, in your catalog. Even I think the Pete Yorn, just the self-titled record, I think that thing is fucking smoking, man. It's such a mood piece, And I was like, this, it's funny because with Wilco, Being There was always my record. I got Being There's the one. And everybody's like, Yankee Foxtrot. I'm like, get out of here. But now Sky Blue Sky. And this is what's happening with me. And that's why I love guys like you that never stop. You got this catalog, and as I slowly start to burn out on a record as of years, I dig into another one and I go, what was he like? What's his frame of mind on this? And then I get into it and I go, wow, this is a piece here, man, and I love that about this record, the self-titled one. It's such a mood piece. Was that kind of set up of man, I don't really care anymore what happens. I just want to make some music here.
That was, that's the record we call the Black Album, because of Frank Black's involvement, but it's just called Pete Yorn. But that was definitely a reaction, I think, to some. I'm always reacting to what I do before, and I knew that I was going to Omaha to work with Mike Mogus and work in a certain way, and I knew it would be very kind of intricate production, more slower, and I like to work fast. I like to just like boom boom. I was just like jumping all over the place, and I knew if I went in with Frank, we would just bang out this like, you know, kind of punk rock style, like just like, it might have been 5 days, not even 7 days. We made the whole thing, tracked everything pretty much live, and not a lot of overdubs, not a lot of overthinking it. And it just has this raw energy to it. That time, I think I was in my early 30s, and I was going through a personal struggles at that time. Like, I feel like I was like, kind of like molting an old skin and kind of in a place where I needed to figure out how I'm going to kind of live that next phase of my life.
Is it because you're like, are you looking at like, and this is how I looked at music, are you looking at it as like, fuck, I've been doing this for years now, and I have had some success, but what, you know, what do I do? Do I keep going? What, you know what I mean? Is it like that kind of frame of mind? What's bringing on?
It wasn't really about career. It was more like personally. Like, I was just like, something clicked in me, and I was like, you know, the song "The Drugs Don't Work." It was like whatever I was doing in the past, the way I was thinking about things, the way I was maybe self-medicating, whatever it was, just everything stopped working, and I was having crazy anxiety. And you could hear on that record, it's an anxious sounding record to me.
Yeah.
And a lot of those songs, a couple of the songs were old that I wrote when I was a teenager that I played for Frank, and he really liked them and wanted to put them on. But the rest of them, if you listen to the lyrics, it was me bugging out about the rest of my life. Like, whoa, like how am I going to like get to the next phase of maybe being able to settle down or get married or have a family, and all these pressures I was putting on myself. And if you hear a song called Future Life on there, I mean, it's a very literal song, lyric-wise, where I'm talking about that stuff. And I look back now, being kind of on the other end of it, I made it through, and I look at, you know, a lot of those songs, I'm like, wow, I was fucking bugging out then. But I'm glad I was able to kind of articulate all this stuff, because I know that people are on different moments on their journey, you know, and you might meet someone who, they could be older than you and they're kind of still back there, and you might meet someone who's like in their early 20s, but they're already ahead of you, like able to do stuff that you kind of weren't unable to do, like just personally. And so at that time, yeah, I was in my personal, I was like, I can't, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to keep fucking going on the road like this and doing it the same way and drinking fucking 10 shots of Jaeger every night. And I didn't feel good anymore. I just felt like ass. I couldn't sleep. And it was just this very anxious time. I think it started like right around when I did that record Breakup with Scarlett.
Right.
Right after Nightcrawler, I fucking kind of like, something clicked and I bugged out. Like, my brain just was like, dude. And I think it was like an early midlife crisis or something.
Yeah. I've been there, man.
Yeah. And the more I talked about it, the more I realized, like, it's kind of like, I think it's like a very common journey. It's like the archetypal thing that people hit at different ages. But I'm glad it hit me then, because it forced me to fucking bear down, and for a few really tough years, and I made it through, and I was able to get, you know, to a place of freedom again. You know? So it's cool. Yeah.
I've been there, man. You know, I've been there. You're just you get to these points in your life. You're like, man, what you know, like, what am I doing here? Is it going to be another 10 years of this? And I think this week I've come to a point where I'm like, yeah, man, this is basically who really I'm going to be for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? It's like, I realized it last week. You get lost though, because you're just in the work. Being in the work is good. I think the biggest thing I learned was years ago when I would bug out about that sort of stuff. Really, it's that, you know, people say, oh, you got to be in the moment. You just got to be present. You got to be, when you're thinking, your brain doesn't know how to fucking process like the idea of 20 years from now, or even like a month from now. And my brain was always there. That's the way I just always thought. I never knew how to not think that way. And when I realized, like, oh, fuck that, just be here right now. Like, you know, the Oasis record, whatever, the old Eastern, you know, kind of philosophies. You realize,
that's everything. It makes for a way better ride, and you don't know what the fuck's going to happen anyway. That's all like your ego mind, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be this guy. You don't know what you're going to be for the rest of your life. You have no idea. And shit always comes when you least expect it. When you forgot about something, that's when some shit happens or whatever. So you have no idea. So I realized it's just a waste to even think, you know, like I used to fall into the trap of like getting nervous about a show like 2 weeks from now. Like I'd put myself on stage and be like, oh fuck. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Just be here now. And then you'll be there then and you'll deal with it. And that's it. And that's all you got to do. And for me, it changed everything. It was just like a shift in my head, which changed everything. It made fucking the ride of life just so much better. Just like
it all comes down to like those magical meeting out in front of the Troubadour or whatever. That stuff just, you can't control that. So, you know, just wait for your next Troubadour meet. You know? That's what I say.
It happened again this year. I met a dude at a birthday party back in October at a friend's 50th birthday. And he was like, oh yeah, I like some of your old music. He's like a younger kid. He's like, we used to crank, you know, music from Moriarty or whatever. And I was like, oh cool, dude. He's like, I got a studio out in Echo Park. You should come out, whatever. And I was like, yeah. And I want to. And then just forgot about it. And I'm sitting with my brother in January. What's that? 6 months later, whatever. And he's sitting with me. He's like, well, I'm gonna get some new Petey music. Come on, get some fucking music. And I'm like, I don't know, man. My head's not in it. I don't know. I didn't say I was dumb. I wasn't inspired to do nothing. 2 days later, that dude from October emails me. He's like, hey, I'm back in town. You want to come out to the studio? I was like, all right, I'll go. You know, I'm fucking cut to. We make 18 new songs out of nowhere.
Wow.
2 days after I said I got nothing.
Yeah.
We, over the course of like working together basically 18 days, every day we would come in. Spread out over like a few months, but a brand new song every day. So I got a lot of new music from it when I least expected it.
Wow.
I thought it was like done.
That's incredible. Who is the guy?
His name's Jackson Phillips, and he's in a band called Daywave, and he's just this great kid. He's just awesome, super like one of those engineers you talk about who's super fast. And just really great to work with and a great musician, and we just have a really nice flow together. So.
How does the Scarlett Johansson stuff come together, which is kind of me just not paying attention, all of a sudden like, whoa, Scarlett Johansson at the time, you know, Ghost World, Lost in Translation, that stuff, she's like the monster star all of a sudden and everything, and I recently did an EP again with her, but how does this happen? Did you know her before, and what kind of music is she into and stuff that made you think, hey, we should do a record?
I've known her since she's been probably, I don't know, like a teenager, you know. I met her in New York, I remember probably 2000, 2001. She came up to me. She's like, "Hey, you're Petey, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "I know your brothers." She knew my brothers from Hollywood and whatever. And she's like, "You're Petey," and I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm Scarlett," and she was standing with this little kid who looked like it was probably a kid in like the Strokes. Like 2 years later, he was like, I think it might have been like one of those kids. Yeah. And I was like, "Cool, what's up? All right." And she was too young to be in the club. She was probably 16, maybe 15. Yeah. And do the math on it. It was probably definitely 2000, 2001. But we stayed in touch, and we always like text once in a while. And she was cool. She's one of the best girls. And I remember during that time when I was having my super bug out and I couldn't sleep. Remember after right when I was about to start, I was continuing a Nightcrawler tour. It was probably 2006. I remember I had insomnia, and I've told this story before, but I just kind of fell asleep for 5 minutes, and I woke up with that like racing heart, like fucking apnea or something. And I was like, I gotta make a record. Like Serge Gainsbourg. He had Bridget Bardot. He had this beautiful starlet, and it was Serge. And that bottom was like, who's that today? And this all comes together in a flash. Like Scarlett's Bridget. Yeah, I could make a record with her. And so I text her. And she hit me right. I was like, hey, you want to make a record? And she hadn't sung before. Yeah. She hadn't made a record yet. And I'm like, hey, Scar, I have this idea for a record. You want to do it? And she's like, text me back. She's like, sure. And it was that simple. So then a week before, again, another thing of just putting it together backwards. Could never have imagined this. Wasn't on my radar at all. My cousin, Max Goldblatt, he had told me about this producer, Sonny Levine, who's in town. I'm saying a lot of names right now. But he played me his record, and it sounded really cool. I was like, that Sonny Levine guy, he might be perfect to produce this shit with. Yeah. And so I kicked Max. I'm like, Max, where's Sonny? Is he around? I got this idea for a record. I didn't even say anything about Scarlett yet. And Max hit Sonny. Sonny's like, yeah, let's get together. Let's what? So we put the team together. Me, Sonny, and Max work up all the music over like a month at his place down in Mar Vista in a little back house studio where I love working at home studios. And then a month later, like early 2007, I'm like, all right, Scarlett, I got all these tracks for you. Come in and you're going to sing on this stuff. And she's like, okay. And she came.
And she'd never sang.
She hadn't sung, not on a record yet, but I just knew I knew it was more, I just knew her persona, and I knew that it would work for what I was trying to achieve. And she came in, she heard the songs, the music, and we sang together, and she just nailed it all in like 1 or 2 afternoons.
Wow.
And then she took off, and then we met Sonny, mixed it like maybe a few weeks later, and it was done. And then it just sat around. We were like, yeah, we love this. What are we going to do with it? I don't know what the fuck to do with it. I was touring Nightcrawler still and bugging out and all that shit. And but we made the whole thing in a very short period of time. And then I slowly played it for some friends, and everyone's like, this is cool. And Scarlett's like, yeah, man, I like that music. What should we do with it? And we were able to get a deal for it over at Rhino and Warner Brothers, and they put it out. And it ended up doing. We were stuck because we were never able to. We were never going to tour.
Right.
It wasn't going to be that sort of thing. And it still obviously isn't that sort of thing. But we liked the music, and we liked the sentiment of it, and ended up doing really well in France. That was where it went platinum in France.
Wow.
It was a big hit there. And it's still one of, like, Relator, the first song on it, is still one of, like, the most popular songs that I've been involved in. You know, like it's on streaming and stuff like that. So it's really cool. And it was fun to do. And so years later, we got back together and made the little EP, Apart, which came out in June. But again, it's like it's hard to promote it because we're just, you know, she's way busier than she was then. She's as big as a star as she was then. She's even bigger a star
monster star now.
And we even ran into problems. Like we were gonna go to France to launch it again, like we did last time, and do all this TV. And then our like movie schedule changed and was right when we had to go, and there was no way we could get it all done, so we had to punt on it. But
wow.
But I think they're making a video for it, though. We're not going to be in it, but they're making a video for it next week for a song called Iguana Bird. It's the first song on it, and I really like that song, so I'm psyched that maybe they'll get another little push or something like that.
Is there? How do you survive these days? Because I got a lot of people in the music biz. Is it straight up just touring, or I mean, because everybody talks about no money and streaming and stuff, and you got a family now, and are you still getting old school royalties? Or I mean, I know you got some songs and some commercials, and of course a lot of movie placement and stuff. Is that where the money's at? Because I mean, yeah,
the touring. With as low overhead as I can do.
Like acoustic.
It's so expensive to tour with my band that it's hard. At the level I'm at, it's insane. Hard. It's really hard to make any money, which is it's a little discouraging, frankly. But at the same time, sometimes you got to get out there and rock, So,
yeah.
But the acoustic thing seems to be a good business and fun for everybody, So that's a nice thing to be able to do for sure. And it's something I always wanted to do, regardless of the business model of it. But it was something that, like I said, it just feels really free, and it's fun to be able to go play any song that I've ever worked on over the years at any time.
And also a real hardcore audience comes, and it becomes this great, like almost like a night of just art. It's like, okay, these are the hardcore fans, and I can go anywhere. And also, I know they're gonna know it all.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to do. It's like this, like us right now, it's like, but like with a few hundred people, and it's just like I feel really close with them, which is fun. And then the streaming thing's it's terrible, but whatever. I mean, there's that old book like where's my cheese or something like that. It's like the little mouse is so used to getting his cheese or his money in the same spot, and then the cheese got moved, and the mouse complains about it. Well, where's the fucking cheese? I can't complain about it. I know it's sometimes it's frustrating because you think like what would it be like if there's not many businesses that completely change as much as the way you deliver music, and the valuation of music, how it's like the reality is you get like fractions of a penny for each stream. So like I could stream on Spotify like 20 million songs a year, and it's not even a it's like it's not enough for anybody to make a living. So It's interesting, but the less I think about that shit, you know, the stuff, like I said, like stuff just kind of comes where you least expect it. And, you know, I'm like, I don't need much. I'm not like someone who like ever, even if I had a lot of money, I don't think I would like buy like 1 million cars and a fucking giant house. Like I'm pretty simple.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just kind of keep it simple and I like to just hang out. Like I like to just hang out with my wife and my little girl and my baby. So I try to work as little as possible. And when I do work, I want to make sure it's something that I fucking feel like doing. You know? And like, and so doing these tours, you know, go out 2 weeks, come home, go out another 2 weeks, come home. Now she's getting a little bigger. My little one, she's 3 now. So those first couple of years when she was really small, like I didn't want to miss that. And I still don't want to miss much, you know?
Yeah.
But like, and I'm not the guy who's going to take her on the road at this age. I'm like, you know, I've structured and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all good. Like to me, I've been doing this, you know, since, you know, I graduated in 96 and started doing it in 96. So was it 22 years? I've been kind of doing music pro, right? Is my math right? I think.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy to me. And to still be able to do it and still have people come and want to see my stuff. And then on top of it, out of nowhere, like I said, I hooked up with that kid, Jackson Phillips, look him up, and recorded all this new music that I haven't been this excited about new music in fucking 15 years, frankly.
Wow,
like,
I can't wait to hear
it's
it.
like next level. Like, wow, for me, I'm like really stoked on it.
What flavor is it?
It's like me. It feels that familiar. I feel like it has that familiarity of what, you know, I bring to the table. But it just, I don't know, it just feels fresh to me. I can't, it's hard to say. It's rock. Some of it's rock and some of it's like a little bit more esoteric. But it all has this kind of dreamy vibe to it. And I'm really proud of it. So I'm psyched to start getting that stuff out too. Like for me, I feel like the way to go, like I used to make a record and then figure out how to tour on the record. Now I feel like I want to just keep booking these little tours, consistency, you know, just keep going, as opposed, because I would like do something and I would just disappear for a year or something like that. I just want to keep doing things and keep putting out songs quicker, like, because once you put out a whole record these days too, it's like it's out, and unless you have a hit, it's like people listen to it and then it's just like gone and it's out. And I want to just like, I want to put out like songs, more surprise songs, like boom, here's another song, boom, here's another song, boom, here's another song, and just keep doing that and then put it all out together as a collection, you know? That's
how I look at comedy now. Everybody's like that thing of the 1 hour, you work a couple of years to put a 1 hour out. Everybody's like, where's your 1 hour? And I think in this ADD world, and also we've kind of gone back to like the 50s of like Buddy Holly and Big Bopper and all them, where they just put out a couple songs and then they would tour as 3 guys, like
not that tour, not like that.
No, not the plane down, but you know what I mean.
Oh
like,
shit!
But like the Motown tours and all that, each guy would have 2-3 songs. They go out, and I think people's
attention spans.
Well, unfortunately, it's so fucking small now. Perfect example of going back to your one record to the second record. People have already lost. You know what I mean? But if you just go out like I think with like comedy or music, and you go, hey man, here's a 15 minutes of my comedy. Here's 3 songs of Pete Yorn, and with iTunes and YouTube and these phones and everything, you can make cool little videos and constantly be in the game, and putting out cool art because it's so cheap to do now. If you're not going to get paid, at least it's cheap to do. Back in the day, it was like, well, now we owe $1 million to the record company. Now it's like, well, on a Saturday, I really mapped out something and did it. Here it is.
Yeah, it's definitely cool what you're able to do, and I feel like the biggest thing is just consistency, and it's tough sometimes for creative heads because like you run like really inspired and then like just so uninspired, like you don't want to do anything. I don't know if it's like that for you at times, but like, so for me, I feel like just find a way to be consistent and keep interacting with everybody and keep putting out stuff that you're excited about, and I think having content that you're excited about is a huge thing, and I think that is infectious too. Like when you're naturally really excited, but you're not doing it just to do it because it's what you do. It's and sometimes you do find yourself in that place, and you just kind of gotta
go through that.
You gotta go through it. That's like anything. But then when you also get an uptick where you're feeling really inspired and you have all this stuff, it's like you get to share that right away with people, and that's cool. And so I want to be able to put out music in that way when I'm inspired, just to be able to get it out there. And so, you know, whoever my partners are on it, whatever, like I want them to be able to stick and move with me in that way, and constantly feed the fire and feed it, because that's what it feels like for an artist like me in today's world. It feels like that's the most exciting thing to do, and I think that's the best way to go about it, you know. So
on the acoustic tour, are you going to just do fly-ins, or do you get like a van yourself and just have somebody drive the 2 weeks? How you doing that?
I have a nice system. We've done it over the last, like, I think we first did the first one in 2014, and my wife used to come. That was fun. And then she was only been on the road when she was pregnant. And then ever since we had the baby in 2015, she's had to sit it out. Yeah. But it's me, like a tour manager / like merch guy, and a sound guy. And so it's 3 of us, great guys, Jonathan and Phil. And we get a Suburban.
Rad.
And I drive.
Wow.
At first I was driving, I think, because I thought I was like too nervous to let anybody else drive.
Yeah. I'm like that too. Like, hey, you awake up there? Yeah. I can't do it, even on a tour bus. You know, a couple bumps. Hey, I'm always peeking out of the bunk.
now I realize I think I just like driving. I fucking crank tunes and we cruise, and we stay at a hotel every night, and we route it where, you know, it's a day drive that's never more than like 4 hours. You know, like whatever, and that's nothing. You drive in the morning, we get there, fucking check into a hotel. You know, they go over, set up sound check, whatever. I go do my stuff at the venue and play the show, go sleep, get up in the morning, get some coffees,
that's rad.
And it's fun. And sometimes we figured out that we can do it, like, we could then chain markets together where, you know, if someplace you run out of a place to drive to, you say, okay, well, we could fly and go to another market and then re-rent another region, you know, and then kind of rent another Suburban and fucking cruise around there. You know? And then we still, you know, also do the tour, but when I have the band, we go on a bus, you know, of course, and all that, and that's cool. But I kind of like being in a hotel every night, because you kind of get your shower, you got your room, and it's pretty awesome. And on the bus, you wake up, you feel all crusty, and it's like fucking day room. I don't know, where the hell are we? You know, I sleep good on the bus for sure. I do too, Like I sleep good in that little fucking coffin, but you know, I like it both ways. It's pretty cool. Different, like an adventure. It's like a long road trip, you know, when you do it that way. So
that's old country western style. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, are you a vintage guitar guy? Do you have a main guitar that you? I got a J45 that's basically my life, that I just got back recently, and I probably wrote every song I ever had on it. You know. Do you write on acoustic or electric, and are you a vintage guy? What do you got?
I'm not too picky, other than I love them to stay in tune. Yeah.
Because you used to play like casinos, right?
Yeah, I still do.
Yeah.
I have that John Lennon model where, you know.
I remember you were the casino guy, like, you know, the P90, you know, that's a great guitar.
I love the casino, and I still play it a lot. And as far as, I have another newer electric called a Fano that looks like a Jaguar, a Jazzmaster. It's white, and I play that sometimes. But I've actually switched back to the casino mainly for electric. But then the acoustics, I write a lot on this old acoustic I got in a pawn shop in Bloomington, Indiana, which sounds cool, but it's like a B-stock Gibson J45 Deluxe.
Oh yeah.
And I have it tuned down a half step, because I think my voice has gotten a little deeper, so I was like, it's
deeper than it was.
It's easier to sing the songs like a half step down.
Yeah.
I like that's like my practice guitar at home. It's just sitting out. It's always there. My daughter's bumping into it all the time, and it's a beater, but I love it. But my main show guitar is a J45 also. Not that old. It's probably at this point it's probably like maybe 12 years old. It's like a J45 with a rosewood neck. Yeah. And it just sounds great. I have a Dove, but it doesn't sound as good for some reason.
Well, one's rosewood, one's I think maple. I think
never no matter what pickup I put in, it just never sounds as good through the PA. But recently someone gave me a guitar. It's a company called Eastman, and he's like my boy Jackson was playing one where we were recording, and he said, "Oh, I know the guy. Maybe he can get you one." And I was like, "Well, I don't, you know, it's cool. I don't care." But he was like, "You try it." And so I played this Eastman, and it basically looks like a J45, and it's fucking amazing.
Wow.
It's like made in Japan, I think, or something like that.
Wow.
It's really nice guitar. So I feel like, and I plugged it in recently into a PA, and I was like, holy shit, this sounds great. So I feel like that's going to be like my number 2. When I first start the tour, I'll do a shootout when we get to whatever the first club is in North Carolina, and we'll see what sounds good. But I feel like that'll be the good backup guitar, and if it sounds even better than the Gibson, then fuck it, whatever. But
what are you using, like Pizio pickups, or are you using like one of the an in-hole, or you don't even know? It's just fucking plug it in and go.
It's something, it's the kind. I think it's under the bridge.
Oh yeah.
But it's probably like a Fishman.
Yeah,
or something
yeah,
like
gotcha.
That, yeah.
It's so crazy, like when you see Neil Young or Bruce, and they're playing acoustic, and they got like 8 mics, and it sounds amazing. Like on Broadway, I saw Bruce on Broadway.
I got to see it before it ends.
Ooh, you got to see this, dude. Don't fucking miss this, man.
I have to.
But when you hear those guys, man, and and the room's completely quiet, there's nothing like a great acoustic show. Like I saw Tweety, they got like 5 fucking guitars there, and they got like a Martin, and then they got like, and they pick one up and they start strumming like, old man, take it. And you're just going like, oh, there's nothing like an acoustic show. I really believe, especially when somebody takes you on a journey, even when Tom Petty would play like stuff from like Wildflowers and shit, you're like, I can hear the old man burn. That shit, I won't back down. Like you're like, wow, man. I mean, when people do it, it's just so amazing, man. I'm looking forward to seeing this. I was going to go to Irving Plaza, but now I have to stay here for a couple of days. So I think I'm going to train it up to Connecticut.
All right,
bring it. See you out in out somewhere.
So Ridgefield.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool show.
I did comedy up there about a month ago, and it was interesting, just kind of small town vibe, But I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Now, how long is the acoustic run? Is it just to the end of the year?
Yeah, there's let's see. I don't like to go out too long these days. Like I go out, quick hit, and I like to come back. So there's going to be, I think, 8 shows the first leg, and then like 10 days home, and then 8 more shows, and then possibly we're going to do some more in November. So this run will be September 23rd, I think. The first show is actually a festival full band. It's my only full band show this year.
Whoa! Who are the band guys? Any like old school or just some new dudes?
They've been with me for a while. I mean, some of them. All right, the drummer is named Scott Seaver. The bass player's name, he's been with me for years. The bass player is a guy named John Spiker, who's been with me for maybe 3-4 years now. But those guys are a rhythm section that come together, and they're actually the rhythm section that tours with Tenacious D.
Oh, wow.
So they rock pretty hard with those guys. And then the multi-instrumentalist guitar keyboard guy who I just brought back, he was in my bands back in like 2009, 10. This guy Zach, he just came back because my other guy Joey K, who I was talking about a while ago, he just had a baby, so he's going to lay low and stay home for a bit.
Just a one-off with the electric band?
Yeah, just a one-off. So we were rehearsing yesterday, and then
I'd like to see an electric show. I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah, it's fun. It probably makes sense that we'll do one out here at some point, and we'll do more in the new year for sure to support some of that new record, that new music I was talking about. But yeah, like Mason, I always remember Jan Michael Vincent in Big Wednesday saying, "I just want to surf with my friends, man." And like for me, like I just want to play music with my friends,
Yeah.
And every once in a while, you meet a new friend who joins or comes around. But a lot of my guys are like a rotation of people I play with over many years. So.
Well, I can't thank you enough for doing the show, dude. Been a big fan for years.
My pleasure.
Love your music, and it's funny that you're here because there's a comedian here, a friend of mine, Chris D'Elia. You ever get that? People go, "Hey, you guys kind of look alike. It's a trip, man." You ever hear that?
I have heard that a couple of times.
It's somebody because he's got a brother. The three of you could easily be like the Yorns or the D'Elias. It's a trip, man.
That's a small world. My old guitar player, who I've spoken about, who left when we were in Lawrence, Kansas, or whatever. He scored Chris's show. He was like doing the music he had a TV show maybe last year.
Oh yeah.
And he did all the score music for that.
Wow, small world. You got to come see some comedy.
I know. Every time I go to see it, I'm so happy I did because I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
I know.
So great to see, and I don't do it. I don't go out that much, so I need to like
maybe come out to the Forum and see me with Bill Burr.
I just discovered Bill Burr because of you.
Oh wow!
And I watched this whole thing on Netflix. The one at the Ryman in Tennessee.
Oh, awesome!
Holy, that guy is fucking great.
Yeah, we're at the Forum. You and your brother should come out.
When is it?
The 28th. Oh, you're gonna be gone. Damn. Well, you got to come.
That's a great gig. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's his gig. I'm opening it.
I discovered him because of you, though, and it was one of those things like, where the fuck have I been? Have I never heard of this guy? I really, really loved his one show that I watched. It was great.
Yeah. Well, maybe come to the Comedy Store and see. Come for a night and just enjoy it. Hey, did you ever live in Silver Lake, man?
Nope.
It's so weird. I used to live in Silver Lake, and there's this guy that had like a blue 68 Camaro convertible. I used to go, that's Pete, you know? Like, I lived over by Daniel Lanois, you know? And I go, I guess Pete lives over here, too. The guy looked just like you back in the early 2000s, or mid-2000s. It was funny. He had a blue convertible Camaro, and I was like, Pete Yorn's got a rad ride. This guy looked like it. No. It's so funny, man.
The furthest east I lived was like Doheny.
Yeah.
And then I slowly moved further west.
Yeah, you like it out there?
Yeah, it's great.
It's pretty chill, right?
Yeah.
But you don't ever get out here once you're there.
I don't. Like I said, when I got back around here, I was like, wow, you know.
Thank you so much. Go see Pete's tour, acoustic. His dates are on his website, PeteYorn.com. And check out all his music, man. If you love the stuff from back in the day, or if you want to know where to start anywhere. People always say, what do you recommend? Well, of course, I'm going to say A Day I Forgot, or I would say the Pete Yorn record. That you know, to me, it's just whatever. I don't know what style you like. Just pick one and roll. You know what style of music you are. But the songwriting is what is going to grab you, hands down. And thank you so much for
thank you, man,
and staying out there, man. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you later. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube or iTunes, and also be a Patreon supporter, patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. Candles lit. See ya.